When a billionaire installed a hidden camera in his paralyzed father's room, it was meant to protect him. But what he saw on that footage shattered his heart. It all started when Marcus was halfway to work when his heart suddenly sank. He had forgotten an important file, the one his boss had warned him not to lose again. He sighed, turned the steering wheel, and started driving back home, not knowing that this quick stop would lead him to something he wasn't supposed to see. The morning sun had barely risen when he pulled into the driveway. Everything looked normal, too normal. The quiet in the house felt heavier than usual. His father's illness had made the home full of silence and routine, and Tiffany, their house helper, was the only one keeping things running smoothly. Marcus walked in quickly, heading for his room, but then he froze. A sound soft and faint came from his father's room. It wasn't a sound of pain or coughing, but something different. Wrong. His heart beat faster. He took a step closer, each floorboard creak echoing through the house. "Dad?" he called softly, but there was no answer. Only a muffled, strange noise. He reached the door, and before he could touch the handle, it swung open. Tiffany stepped out, looking startled. She was wrapped in a towel, water still dripping from her shoulders, and her face was pale, with a white streak on her mouth. "Tiffany." Marcus's voice broke. "What are you doing like this?" She froze, eyes flicking between him and the floor. I'm sorry, sir," she stammered. "I was taking a shower when I heard your father cry. I didn't want to ignore him, so I quickly wrapped the towel and came to see him." Her voice trembled slightly. Her explanation sounded real, maybe too real. Marcus stared at her, his throat tight, trying to read her expression. Something about it didn't feel right, but he said nothing. He just walked past her and went into his father's room. His father lay still on the bed, breathing heavily but calm now. Marcus gently rubbed his hand. "Dad, you okay?" he whispered. His father nodded weakly. Marcus stayed a few seconds longer before leaving. Back in his car, he tried to shake it off, but his mind wouldn't stop. The strange noise. Tiffany in a towel. The white streak on her mouth. He gripped the steering wheel tighter. No, that's impossible," he muttered. "Tiffany has been with us for years. She's practically family. She couldn't." Yet the image kept playing in his mind. Tiffany stepping out, startled, her mouth slightly open, that white mark he couldn't explain. "Milk," he whispered. "Why milk?" He tried to tell himself it was nothing, maybe just a coincidence. But deep down, a cold, uneasy thought began to form, one he didn't dare finish. As he drove back to work, that thought wouldn't leave him. That night, the house was quiet again. Too quiet. Marcus lay on his bed beside his fiancée, Vanessa. The room was dim, the soft lamp glow falling across his face. He stared at the ceiling, replaying everything from earlier. Tiffany stepping out, the towel, the white streak on her lips, the nervous voice. He turned on his side, trying to sleep, but his mind wouldn't rest. Vanessa noticed. She rolled to face him, brushing his arm gently. "Marcus," she whispered, "you've been quiet since you got home. What's wrong?" Marcus didn't answer right away. He just lay there, breathing slowly, eyes distant. He wanted to believe what he saw was harmless, but the image was too strong to ignore. He finally turned to her, voice low. "Vanessa," he said softly, "I'm really confused about what I saw today." Vanessa frowned. "What happened?" Marcus hesitated. He had never told anyone about it before. "When I went back home to get the file I forgot, I heard a strange sound from my father's room. It didn't sound like he was in pain. It sounded different." He swallowed hard. "I went closer to check. Just as I got to the door, Tiffany came out. She was in only a towel, and there was something white, like milk, on her mouth." Vanessa's eyes went wide. "What?" Her voice rose. "Did you ask her what she was doing?" "Yes," Marcus replied, uncertain. "She said she was in the shower, heard my dad crying, and quickly wrapped the towel to check on him." Vanessa sat up sharply. "And the milk? Did you ask about that?" Marcus shook his head slowly. "No. I didn't even know what to say." Vanessa threw her hands up. "I told you. That girl can't be trusted. I've said it many times. Fire her, fire her. But you never listen." Marcus looked away, jaw tight. "Vanessa, don't jump to conclusions." "Jump to what?" she snapped. "Marcus, open your eyes. A house helper in a towel coming from your father's room with milk on her mouth? Don't you hear how that sounds?" He said nothing. The anger in her voice only made the heaviness in his chest worse. Vanessa got out of bed, bare feet hitting the floor. "I'm going to her room," she said sharply. I'll ask her what she was really doing. Marcus sat up quickly. Vanessa, wait. She was already halfway to the door. Wait, babe, he said again louder. Don't go. I have a plan. Vanessa paused, hand on the doorknob, breathing hard. What plan? Marcus walked closer, lowering his voice. If she's doing something wrong, confronting her won't work. She'll deny it. The best way to know the truth is to see it ourselves. Vanessa looked at him, confused. See it? How? Marcus's eyes darkened slightly. We'll put a hidden camera in my father's room. Somewhere no one will see it. Then we can watch what happens when no one's around. For a moment, Vanessa said nothing. Then a slow, knowing smile spread across her face. That's a smart idea, she said. A very smart idea. I've always felt that Tiffany is up to something. I can just feel it. Marcus nodded, though his heart felt heavy. As Vanessa went back to bed, muttering under her breath, Marcus sat on the edge of the mattress, lost in thought. He didn't want to believe Tiffany could do anything bad. She had cared for his father for years. She was quiet, humble, and respectful. But now, every little thing she did, every smile, every step, felt suspicious. He stared into the dark hallway outside their room, the silence pressing against his ears. In that quiet, he made up his mind. Tomorrow, before anyone woke up, he would install the camera. And by nightfall, he would finally know the truth. The next day came quietly. The air in the house felt heavy, like even the walls knew something was about to happen. That evening, when Marcus came home from work, he carried a small box in his hand. His eyes looked tired but determined. I got the camera, babe, he said as he entered the living room. Vanessa, who had been waiting all day, smiled sharply. Good, she said, standing up from the couch. Let's get this done. Together, they went upstairs. The house was dim, the only sound the steady ticking of the old clock in the hallway. Marcus opened the small box. Carefully inside was a tiny CCTV camera, no bigger than his palm. Vanessa watched closely. Are you sure it'll work? Marcus nodded. It will. Once it's in place, it records everything. They both tiptoed into Mr. Thompson's room. The old man was sleeping peacefully, his breathing soft and slow. Tiffany had already cleaned the room earlier and left, so they were alone. Marcus found a perfect spot high up near the bookshelf, hidden behind a picture frame. She'll never notice, he whispered. Vanessa crossed her arms, watching him fix it in place. Good. Now let's see what our little helper has been doing. When they were done, they left the room quietly, shutting the door gently behind them. The next morning, Marcus left early for work, giving Vanessa a kiss on the forehead before leaving. Don't forget to check the camera feed, he whispered. Vanessa waited for the right moment. She stayed upstairs, pretending to read, but her eyes kept looking toward the hallway. Minutes later, she saw Tiffany moving through the house from her window upstairs, calm and quiet, as always. Tiffany entered the kitchen and started preparing breakfast. The smell of eggs and oatmeal filled the house. When she finished, she placed everything neatly on a tray, added a glass of milk, and carried it toward Mr. Thompson's room. Vanessa's heart beat faster. Now we'll see, she whispered. She rushed into Marcus's room, turned on his laptop, and connected to the hidden camera feed. The screen flickered for a second, then came alive. She saw Tiffany open the door gently and walk in. The tray of food was balanced carefully in her hands. She placed it on the small table beside the bed and sat near Mr. Thompson, who was awake now, looking weakly at her. Then, to Vanessa's surprise, Tiffany began to unbutton the old man's shirt. Vanessa's eyes widened. Her hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God, she gasped. Her chest rose and fell fast. I knew it, she whispered. I knew she was up to something. She reached for her phone, ready to call Marcus, her fingers shaking so much she almost dropped it. But then something unexpected happened. Tiffany didn't do what Vanessa feared. Instead, she took a soft towel and dipped it into a bowl of warm water beside the bed. Gently, she began wiping Mr. Thompson's chest and arms, humming a slow, soft song. Her voice was gentle, like a mother singing to a child. Mr. Thompson gave a faint smile. His weak eyes followed her as she sang, though he couldn't speak or move much. Vanessa froze. Her mouth hung open. What is she doing? She whispered. Tiffany continued cleaning him carefully, slow, gentle movements, never rushing, never complaining. When she finished, she buttoned his shirt, fixed his pillow, and brought the tray of food closer. Feeding him wasn't easy. His hands trembled. He could barely open his mouth. But Tiffany was patient. Each time she gave him a spoon of food, she sang a little louder, swaying slightly as if dancing for him. "Come on, Papa, just one more," she said softly. When he finally swallowed, she smiled like she had won a small victory. Then came the last spoon. Tiffany lifted it carefully, but as she brought it to his lips, he coughed suddenly. The food spilled onto her face and clothes. Vanessa gasped, covering her mouth again. But Tiffany didn't shout. She didn't frown. She didn't even wipe her face right away. Instead, she rubbed his chest gently, helping him breathe. "It's okay, Papa," she said softly. "You're fine. Don't worry." She cleaned his mouth and the sheets with a towel, then wiped her own face. She even smiled while cleaning, still humming softly like nothing had happened. When she finished feeding him, she stood, picked up the tray, and walked out, calm, gentle, and quiet as always. The house felt different. The quiet wasn't peaceful anymore. It was the kind of silence that made your chest tight. Vanessa sat alone, staring at the laptop. The video had shown nothing but kindness. Tiffany had cared for Mr. Thompson like a daughter. Vanessa's face darkened as she replayed the video in her mind. No, this can't be. If Marcus sees this, he'll trust Tiffany again, she thought. I can't let that happen. Her fingers shook as she touched the laptop. He already doubts her, she whispered. I just have to make sure he never changes his mind. While she was still thinking, she heard movement downstairs. The old door creaked open. She glanced at the screen again. The camera was still on. Tiffany had just walked into Mr. Thompson's room, holding a tray with medicine and water. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. Perfect, she muttered and stood quickly. Her slippers slapped against the floor as she stormed down the hallway. She burst through the door so fast that Tiffany almost dropped the tray. What are you doing to him, Tiffany? Vanessa shouted. Her voice startled Mr. Thompson, who blinked weakly, confused. Tiffany jumped. Ma'am, please. I'm just giving him his medicine. Liar, Vanessa yelled, pointing at her. I knew it. I knew you were doing something to him. Tiffany's hands shook. Please, I didn't do anything wrong, she said, voice trembling. He was sweating, so I cleaned him and tried to feed him. Feed him? Vanessa cut in, laughing bitterly. Is that what you call it now? Before Tiffany could answer, Vanessa grabbed her phone and dialed Marcus. Her hands shook, voice sharp and dramatic. Babe, come home now, she cried. I just caught Tiffany red-handed. You won't believe what she's doing to your father. What? Marcus's voice exploded through the phone. Just come home now. Vanessa shouted, pretending to cry. Hurry. Marcus's heart raced as he jumped into his car. His mind spun. He pressed the pedal hard, tires screeching as he sped home. When he arrived, Vanessa was waiting at the door, pretending to cry. I told you, Marcus. I told you that girl isn't who she seems. Marcus's voice shook. What happened? What did she do? Vanessa sniffled, hand on her chest. I saw her on top of your sick father, taking advantage of him. Marcus froze. His face went pale. What? He whispered, then shouted. How dare you, Tiffany? Tiffany stepped forward, eyes wide, tears falling. Sir, please, that's not true. I would never do that. Please believe me, sir. I swear I didn't. Marcus's chest rose and fell fast. Tiffany, I trusted you. We treated you like family. Vanessa folded her arms, pretending to look hurt. See? See what she really is. Without wasting time, Vanessa called the police. Please come quickly, she said. We just caught our house help doing something terrible to my fiancé's father. Minutes later, 2 police cars arrived. The flashing red and blue lights painted the walls like a warning. Tiffany was still crying, begging them to listen. Please, I'm innocent. I didn't do anything wrong. No one cared. The police grabbed her by the arms and started leading her out. Before they could put her in the car, Tiffany suddenly pulled free and ran back inside. The officers chased her, shouting. She rushed into Mr. Thompson's room, knelt beside his bed, and grabbed his hand tightly, tears streaming down her face. Sir, please, she cried. Tell them I didn't do it. Please say something. You know I didn't. Mr. Thompson's fingers twitched. His lips moved slowly, as if trying to speak. Tears filled his eyes, one rolling down his cheek onto the pillow. Everyone froze for a moment. Even the police paused. But the silence dragged on. He couldn't speak. One officer sighed. Enough of this, he said, grabbing Tiffany's arm and pulling her away again. Please, she cried. Sir, help me. You know I'm innocent. Her voice echoed through the house, but Mr. Thompson could only cry silently. The police dragged her out like a criminal. Marcus stood there, speechless. His heart raced, but something felt wrong. He ran upstairs to the laptop, turned it on, and opened the CCTV program. "Where's the video?" he muttered. "Where's the footage?" He searched the files again and again. Nothing. "I can't find it," he said to Vanessa, confused. Vanessa frowned, pretending to be surprised. "Are you sure it recorded?" They checked the power outlet. The plug was out. "It wasn't plugged in," Marcus said quietly, running fingers through his hair. Vanessa sighed. "That's strange. I wish it was on. You would have seen everything. That girl is heartless, Marcus. We'll make sure she never hurts anyone again." She turned away, hiding the small smile on her lips. She had deleted the footage and unplugged the camera, so it seemed like it hadn't recorded anything. Meanwhile, at the police station, Tiffany sat on the cold floor, wrists red from the handcuffs. Her sobs filled the air. "How can I prove I'm innocent?" she whispered. "How can I fight them when they're rich and powerful?" Days turned into weeks. Then came the trial. Vanessa stood confidently in the witness box, pretending to cry. "I saw her with my own eyes," she said, wiping fake tears. She was on top of him. Marcus stood next. "I saw her coming out of my father's room before. She had milk on her mouth," he said quietly. "I didn't want to believe it, but now I see the truth." Tiffany wept. "Please, Your Honor," she said, voice shaking. "It was just milk. He choked while I was feeding him. I would never hurt him." The courtroom was silent. Finally, the judge entered, robes sweeping the floor. Everyone stood. After reviewing the files, the judge spoke coldly. "After reviewing the evidence, we find Miss Tiffany guilty. She is sentenced to 7 years in prison." Tiffany gasped. "No," she screamed, knees giving way. "Please, I'm innocent. I swear I'm innocent." Her cries echoed as the police grabbed her again. Marcus lowered his head, heart pounding with guilt and confusion. Beside him, Vanessa sat quietly, a small, cold smile on her lips. Marcus came home that evening, tired. Vanessa met him at the door with a bright smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Babe, I'm glad your dad got justice," she said cheerfully. Marcus tried to smile back, but his face stayed worried. "Are you not happy?" Vanessa asked, surprised. Marcus shook his head slowly. "I'm happy, but I'm more worried about my father. Who will care for him now? Where will he get help?" His voice was soft and tired. Vanessa reached out and placed a hand on his arm. "Don't worry. I'll take care of him. I will look after my father-in-law until we find someone we can trust." Marcus breathed out. "Thank you. I really appreciate that." The next morning, Marcus kissed Vanessa and left for work. "Please give him his medicine on time," he said as he walked out. "I will," Vanessa answered, watching him leave. Once the door closed, she walked to the living room and turned on the TV. She put her feet up and pretended to relax. But the house felt hot and quiet. The clock ticked loudly. By afternoon, she suddenly remembered. She hadn't given Mr. Thompson his medicine. She didn't feel like going, but she slowly stood and walked to the kitchen. "This man should not stress me," she muttered. "He should die and rest." She prepared a heavy bowl of hot soup. Her hands moved quickly, but her voice was cold. She took the bowl and the medicine and walked down the hall to Mr. Thompson's room. She pushed the door open and saw him lying there, pale, thin, peaceful. For a moment, she looked like she might cry, but then her expression hardened. Quiet, angry, sharp. "Open your mouth," she snapped, walking straight to his bed. Her voice was sharp. "If you don't open it, I will force it into you." Mr. Thompson blinked slowly. He could barely move. His face was wet with sweat. The spoon shook in Vanessa's hand as she shoved a spoonful of hot soup toward his lips. He tried to chew. He tried to swallow. Suddenly he choked. The hot soup came back up and splashed across Vanessa's face and clothes. For a second, everything felt loud. The splash, the smell of hot soup, the heat in the room. Vanessa screamed. Her anger flared. She grabbed the bowl and threw it with full force at his face. The hot soup hit him. The old man let out a scream, a long, painful sound. It was the first anyone had heard in months. The scream cut through the silence like a knife. Tears ran down Mr. Thompson's cheeks. He cried out again, lips moving, no words coming. Pain shook his body. Vanessa stood over him, chest heaving. Her face wild. "You evil man," she hissed. "I will kill you before you kill me." She stormed out and returned a few minutes later with a small bottle of pills. Her hands didn't shake this time. She held the bottle like a weapon. "This will teach you," she said quietly. She took the bottle with the medicine Marcus had left and secretly swapped it with another small bottle she had hidden in her bag. The labels looked the same, but the pills were different. She gave him the new pills and watched him swallow. He looked at her with scared eyes. He could not speak. He could only blink. Vanessa stood and looked down at him. Her face was empty of warmth. "Now you will rest," she said softly, as if soothing a child. Then she left the room and closed the door behind her. Marcus was at work when his phone rang. He saw a neighbor's number flashing. "Hello." Marcus answered quickly, already worried. "Is that Marcus?" a shaky, small voice asked. "Please, are you home? I just heard a terrible scream from your house. It sounded like someone was in pain. Are you there? Should I call an ambulance?" Marcus's heart sank. His hand felt cold on the phone. "No, I'm at work. What happened? Where is your father? Is he okay? There's blood. I think he's hurt. I can see someone inside the room. Please come home." Marcus jumped up so fast his chair fell back. The office lights blurred. "I'm coming," he said, voice tight. He hung up, grabbed his keys, and ran out. As he drove, his mind raced. He remembered the video, the unplugged camera, the trial. He tried to call Vanessa, but it went straight to voicemail. The street felt longer than usual. Marcus's hands tightened on the wheel. The sun was sharp and harsh. Every second felt like an hour. He did not know what he would find at home. He only knew one thing. He had to get there before it was too late. Weeks passed like slow-moving shadows. The house that once echoed with noise and life was now filled with whispers and worry. Mr. Thompson's health grew worse every day. He could no longer move his hands or open his eyes. His breath was shallow. His skin looked pale and cold. The only way to know he was alive was to touch his wrist and feel the faint pulse. Marcus sat beside his father's bed, face heavy with fear. "Dad, please," he whispered, holding his hand. "Stay with me." His heart couldn't take it anymore. He grabbed his phone and called the family doctor immediately. "Please, come quickly," Marcus said. "My father's not responding." Within minutes, the doctor arrived with his bag. He examined Mr. Thompson carefully, checked his pulse, opened an eye, listened to his heartbeat, then looked at Marcus with a troubled face. "He needs to go to the hospital right now," the doctor said seriously. "He's in terrible condition. If we delay, it might be too late." Marcus didn't waste a second. "Let's move him," he said. They carried the old man carefully into an ambulance. Vanessa stood at the door watching, face blank, hands folded. For a moment, she looked more annoyed than worried. At the hospital, nurses rushed Mr. Thompson into the emergency room. Machines beeped. Doctors shouted instructions. Marcus stood frozen in the hallway, heart pounding. Hours later, the doctor came out, expression grave. "We ran several tests," he said. "His body is very weak. Many organs are failing. I'm afraid he has a very low chance of survival." Marcus's throat tightened. "Please, doctor, what can we do? There must be something." The doctor sighed. "The only hope is to transfer him to a specialist hospital in the UK. They have the equipment and care he needs. But we must act fast. He might not survive the next few days if he stays here." Marcus's eyes filled with tears. He nodded slowly. "Then do it. Do whatever it takes." When the doctor left, Vanessa turned to Marcus, tone soft but cold. "Babe," she said, "are you sure that's necessary? Flying him to the UK will cost a fortune. He's already old. Maybe it's time to let him rest and join his ancestors." Marcus snapped his head up, eyes red. "Don't you ever say that again," he said sharply. Vanessa flinched. "I'm sorry, I was just—" "Enough," he cut in, voice breaking. "That's my father we're talking about." He turned away, wiping his eyes. His heart was breaking, but his mind was clear. He wouldn't let his father die like this, not after everything. Without wasting a minute, Marcus made arrangements. Doctors prepared paperwork, and within 24 hours, Mr. Thompson was on a medical flight to London. Marcus stayed just long enough to handle logistics. A trusted nurse from the UK hospital would meet him at the airport and take care of him. When the plane took off, Marcus watched from the runway, whispering a silent prayer. "Please, Dad, hold on. Just hold on." Vanessa stood beside him, face calm, hands crossed. She didn't speak, but deep inside, a quiet, dark thought crossed her mind. Weeks passed after Mr. Thompson was flown to the UK. The house felt emptier than ever. Marcus and Vanessa lived alone now, just the two of them. Every night, the air between them grew colder. One quiet evening, Marcus sat in the living room watching a movie. The lights were dim. The only sound was the TV. Vanessa walked in slowly and stood beside him, face unreadable. "Babe," she said after a long pause, "there's something bothering me." Marcus muted the TV and looked up. "What is it?" Vanessa folded her arms. "When are we going to get married?" she asked softly. Marcus blinked. "Married? That's not a problem," he said calmly. "We'll do that once Dad is discharged from the hospital. I can't get married while he's still there." Vanessa frowned, her voice sharp. "Come on, Marcus. Do you even know when he'll be discharged? And how sure are you he won't come back in a coffin?" The words hit Marcus like lightning. His jaw tightened. "What did you just say?" Vanessa's eyes widened slightly, but she didn't back down. "I'm only saying the truth," she snapped. "He's old, he's sick. You're wasting time waiting for him." "Vanessa, stop it!" Marcus shouted, standing up. "That's my father you're talking about." "Well, he's the reason we're not married yet," she fired back. Their voices rose louder until Jamal could hear them from next door. Dishes rattled on the shelf as their shouting filled the room. "Don't you dare talk about my father like that," Marcus roared. Vanessa's face twisted with anger. "You always choose him over me." Then, the door suddenly swung open. The sound froze them both. They turned at once. In the doorway, sitting weakly in a wheelchair, was Mr. Thompson, alive, pale, but breathing. Behind him was Hannah, gently pushing the chair inside. "Dad," Marcus gasped, heart skipping a beat. "You're home? I didn't even know you were coming." He rushed over and knelt beside the chair, tears filling his eyes. "You're okay? Thank God you're okay." Mr. Thompson didn't smile. He didn't look at Marcus. His face was cold, eyes dull but sharp enough to sting. Vanessa, standing behind Marcus, looked down at her feet. She couldn't meet his eyes. Hannah wheeled Mr. Thompson further into the room. Everyone was quiet. Then, in a faint voice filled with pain, Mr. Thompson spoke. "Where is Tiffany?" The room went silent. You could hear a pin drop. Vanessa's fingers trembled. Marcus swallowed hard. "Dad, she's in prison," he said carefully. Mr. Thompson's head turned slowly toward him. "In prison?" he repeated. "For what?" For abusing you while you were sick," Marcus said. Mr. Thompson's eyes widened. "Oh my God," he whispered. "The evil one is free, while the innocent one suffers behind bars." "What do you mean, Dad?" Marcus asked, confused. Mr. Thompson turned to Vanessa. His eyes darkened. "What did I ever do to you, Vanessa? Why did you treat me this way? Why did you hate me? And why did you destroy Tiffany?" Vanessa's lips parted, but no words came. Her eyes shimmered with anger and fear. Mr. Thompson's voice grew stronger. "I never hurt you. I welcomed you into my home. So tell me, why did you want to kill me?" Something inside Vanessa snapped. Her face twisted, voice cracked with rage. "You did hurt me, Mr. Thompson," she shouted. "You never wanted me here. You told Marcus not to marry me. You said I wouldn't make a good wife. You told him to marry Tiffany instead." Mr. Thompson's eyes widened in shock. "How did you even know that?" Marcus looked away, guilt rising. I told her," he said quietly. "What?" Mr. Thompson's voice broke with disappointment. "You told her?" "Marcus, can't a father talk to his son in private anymore? I gave you advice as a father, and this is what you did with it." Marcus looked down, ashamed. "I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't mean for all this. I just told her casually. I didn't think she'd take it this far." Mr. Thompson shook his head slowly, eyes full of sorrow. "I thought you were wiser than this, Marcus." Then, without another word, Mr. Thompson raised his hand and gave a faint whistle. Within seconds, the door burst open. Police officers stormed in. Vanessa gasped, stepping back. "Vanessa," one officer said firmly, "you are under arrest for attempted murder of Mr. Thompson and for falsely accusing Tiffany." "What?" Vanessa screamed. "No, you can't do this to me." The officers grabbed her wrists and snapped cold handcuffs on. "Dad, what's happening?" Marcus asked, panicking. Mr. Thompson's voice was calm but heavy. "Justice, Marcus. This time, real justice." Vanessa struggled, tears pouring. "Marcus, please. Tell them I didn't mean it. I was angry. I was scared. Please, don't let them take me." But Marcus couldn't move. He could only stand frozen as the police dragged her toward the door. Vanessa's cries echoed through the house, growing weaker as they took her outside. Mr. Thompson watched silently, tears pooling. Not pity, but deep, quiet pain. Mr. Thompson didn't waste a second after the police took Vanessa away. The moment the house was quiet, he told his driver, "Take me to the prison." Now, Hannah tried to stop him. "Sir, you just came from the hospital. You need rest." But he shook his head weakly. "No, someone else needs that rest more than I do." The drive to the prison was long and heavy. Rain tapped the windows like soft tears from the sky. Mr. Thompson sat silently, mind filled with guilt and sorrow. When they arrived, the guards led him inside slowly. The prison halls were cold, gray, and quiet. The air smelled of metal and sadness. Then he saw her, Tiffany. She was sitting alone behind metal bars, pale and thin, eyes hollow from sleepless nights. The once bright and gentle girl now looked like a shadow of herself. When she noticed him, she blinked twice, as if she couldn't believe it. Then slowly she stood, lips trembling. "Sir," she whispered. Mr. Thompson's eyes filled with tears. "Tiffany," his voice cracked. "I'm so sorry, my child." He wheeled closer, the chair echoing in the empty hall. "You should never have suffered like this. It was lies, my blindness. I trusted the wrong people." Tiffany's eyes welled with tears. "Sir, you're alive. Thank God you're alive," she whispered. "That's all that matters to me." He reached through the bars and took her hands gently. "You are too kind, Tiffany. Too kind for this cruel world." His voice trembled. "I've called my lawyers. You'll be released immediately. I won't rest until your name is cleared." Tiffany covered her mouth, trying not to cry, but tears still fell. Mr. Thompson looked into her eyes. "I've met many people in my life, but never a woman as pure-hearted as you. From today onward, you are my daughter. Whatever a father does for his daughter, that's what I'll do for you, and even more." Tiffany couldn't hold it anymore. She broke down crying, shoulders shaking. "Thank you, sir," she whispered between sobs. "Thank you so much." Mr. Thompson reached forward and hugged her tightly through the cold bars. Tears ran down both faces. Tears of pain, forgiveness, and freedom nearly found. The guards looked away, touched by the sight. In that moment, Tiffany wasn't a prisoner anymore. She was a daughter finally seen for who she truly was. For the first time in months, Tiffany felt peace. And for the first time in years, Mr. Thompson felt that his home and his heart could finally heal. As the rain faded, sunlight broke through the clouds, painting the gray prison walls with a soft golden glow. Justice had finally come home. Truth may walk slowly, but it always arrives.